Good morning, children. I welcome you all to the seventh session of the chapter Life Processes in Biology. But before I begin my class today, I would like to have a quick recap of what we have done in the previous class. In the previous class, I did the transportation, the very important life process. We have started with the human circulatory system or human transporting system, in which we have discussed the various parts of the human transporting system, the blood vessels, and the heart. We have to do it today. Blood, its composition we have done, and then we have done the three types of blood vessels, its role and its location also. Okay, we have to start with the heart. We will start the heart of the human first. Now, before I actually begin the human heart, I will just like to tell you something very important related to this particular organ. Heart is found in all the animals because in every animal the oxygen has to be sent to the cell and the carbon dioxide and the waste products has to be excreted out of the body. So every living animal has a heart, but the type of the heart is different from one another. Okay, so let's begin the human. Human heart has a basic structure like this. Okay, it has a basic structure like this, and it is a muscular organ. It is made up of cardiac muscles. The outer membrane of the heart is called as pericardium. What is it called as? Pericardium. Where is the location of the heart in us? It is located in the thoracic cavity. That means the chest cavity. And it is located in the central part of the between the two lungs in the central location, but it is actually tilted a little towards the heart, towards the left. That is why it is called that heart is in the left side of our chest, but it is not exactly in the left, it is in the center but little tilted towards the left. Okay, so it is embedded in the cavity made by the left lung. Okay, now since the size of the heart is like our fist, when we close our fist, this is our fist, this portion is the size of everyone's heart is equal to the size of the fist. Okay, it is a muscular organ. It has to transport the oxygen rich blood to the cells. It has to transport the carbon dioxide rich blood from the body. So it is dealing with two types of blood. One is oxygen rich blood, one is the carbon dioxide rich blood. Since it has to carry two types of blood, that is why it is divided into some chambers or partitions. The human heart is divided into four chambers. Now this is first chamber, this is second chamber, this is third chamber, this is fourth chamber. So these two, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Don't see these numbers. These are something else that I will tell you. So remember, so these are the four chambers. Along with the four chambers, the right and the left part is also divided by a thin lining of a muscle that is called a septum. What is it called? Septum divides the right and the left. This side is the right part and this side is the left part of the heart. So they are called as four chambers of the heart. What are they called? Four chambers of the heart. Now, different animals have different hearts, different types of hearts. That depends upon how many chambers they have. And the number of chambers also depends upon their requirements. Since mammals and the birds, they are warm-blooded animals, so they need more energy to maintain the body temperature according to the changing temperature in the environment. So they need more energy. That is why mixing of the oxygen rich blood and the carbon dioxide rich blood is not helpful. So that is why they never get mixed with each other. They are totally separated from each other. Okay, so that is why the mammals and the birds have four chambered heart, but the lower animals like fish, amphibians, reptiles, they have 2 and 3 chambered hearts that we will discuss later. Okay, now we go to the details of the chambers first. The upper chambers are called as arteria or auricle. We call it as arteria or auricle. So now The left upper part will be called as left atrium or left atria, and the right upper chamber will be called as the right atria. Okay, and the lower chambers are called as ventricles. So upper chambers are called as atria. Remember, the upper chambers are called as atria and the lower chambers are called as ventricles. Not only they are different in names, but they are also different in the function also. Okay, remember, the right side always carries the carbon dioxide rich blood. That means it is impure blood which is coming from the cell to the heart, so that it is sent out. Carbon dioxide can be expelled out. And the left side always deal with oxygen rich blood. Okay, so left atrium and left ventricle deals with the oxygen rich blood, and right atrium and right ventricle always deals with the deoxygenated blood. Okay, now here it's always written. Now remember, the ventricle pumps the blood to different organs, so its walls are thicker than the atria. The atrium always receives the blood from some particular area. The left atrium receives the blood from the lungs and the right atrium receives the blood from the body cells. So they are just receiving. So that is why their walls are thinner as compared to the ventricle, because ventricle is always sending the blood from the heart. From the heart it is sending. So left ventricle is also sending somewhere, right ventricle also sending somewhere. Details I will tell you a little later. So that is why remember, the atrium has thinner walls as compared to the ventricle. Okay. The right and the left chambers are separated by a septum. It prevents the mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. The atria and ventricles have walls between them to prevent the backflow of the blood. Now, this is one valve. You can see this. This is one valve. This is another valve. So we will discuss these valves later. Now you just understand this, like how the circulation is done. Remember, this is the one thing more I would like to add here before I go to the continuous circulation. Veins. Remember, veins always brings the blood to the heart. Veins are those blood vessels which always brings the blood to the heart. Any vein, whether it is pulmonary vein, whether it is a renal vein, whether it is or any vein, it always brings the blood to the heart, and the artery are the blood vessels which always takes blood from the heart. So remember, vein to the heart and artery from the heart. Okay, now here you can see that this is the pulmonary vein. This is the pulmonary vein connecting to the heart, and this is the superior vena cava, and this is the inferior vena cava. This is also a kind of a vein. This is also called as a vein. Superior vena cava is the vena cava. Vena cava is the main vein in the body, and aorta, this is the main artery of the body. Main artery which is finally branched into many arteries in the body. So remember, what is vena cava? It is the main vein of the body, and aorta is the main artery of the body. Pulmonary word means when it is having any connection to the lungs. Remember that. Pulmonary means it is having a connection to the lungs. So pulmonary vein means the blood vessel, the vein which is bringing the blood from the lungs. From the lungs it is bringing. So if the blood is coming from the lungs, that means it is oxygen rich or pure blood. Okay, so what happens? The lungs is sending the oxygen rich blood to the heart by the help of pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein has a connection to the left atrium. As I said, always the left part is dealing with the pure blood and the right part is dealing with the impure blood or carbon dioxide rich blood. Okay, So pulmonary vein is bringing the pure blood to the left atrium. When the lungs is sending the oxygen rich blood to the left atrium, this is relaxed. All the four chambers are in the relaxed condition. Relaxed means this is relaxed. Contract means when it is contracted. Okay. So the left atrium is filled with the oxygen rich blood with the help of the pulmonary vein. Now, what happens after a few fraction of seconds? The left atrium contracts. The left atrium contracts. There is a switch which is present between the left atrium and the ventricle. Okay. So what happens? That switch is called as valve. What is it called? That is called as valve. The valves, different types of valves are present in the heart that we will discuss later. First you understand the structure. Okay. Now what happens? There is a valve. You can see that the name of this valve is the aortic valve. So when the valve is opens, when it contracts, the blood starts filling into the left ventricle. When the blood will start coming to the left ventricle, when the atrium will contract and it will send the blood to the left ventricle. When the left ventricle will contract, there is a valve here. You can see that there is a valve. This valve opens and the left ventricle sends the blood, the oxygen rich blood to the aorta, and the aorta sends the blood to the different body cells. So oxygen rich blood is transported from the atrium to the ventricle, from the ventricle to the aorta, and aorta sends to the different body parts. Now, wherever the body cells reaches the oxygen, their carbon dioxide is also produced. So with the help of the capillaries, the carbon dioxide rich blood is transported to the veins, and the veins, from the different veins, it is transported to the vena cava. There are two parts of the vena cava, superior and inferior. Superior is that vein, vena cava, which brings the carbon dioxide rich blood from the upper part of the body to the heart, and inferior brings the carbon dioxide rich blood from the lower part of the body. So the carbon dioxide rich blood comes to the right atrium first through the vena cava. Vena cava brings the carbon dioxide rich blood to the right atrium. The right atrium is in the relaxed condition. That time it will fill up here. Once this right atrium will contract, the carbon dioxide rich blood will be pushed to the right ventricle by opening this valve. This is called as tricuspid valve. This is bicuspid, this is tricuspid, this is aortic, and this is pulmonary valve. Okay. Now the tricuspid valve opens, so the impure blood is pushed to the right ventricle. The right ventricle, when it will contract, the impure blood will be pushed through this pulmonary valve. The pulmonary valve will open. Pulmonary valve will open, so carbon dioxide rich blood will be pushed through the pulmonary artery. Where will this artery take the blood? It will take the blood to the lungs to get it purified. From the lungs, the carbon dioxide will be expelled out through our nose, and the blood will be filled with the oxygen, and it will again go to the next cycle. Okay. This diagram will better give you an idea of, you can see that this is the heart. This is the upper chamber. This is the lower chambers. This is left atrium. This is left ventricle. This is right atrium. This is right ventricle. You can see that the lung is sending the pure blood. Red shows the oxygen rich blood. Blue shows the deoxygenated blood. So lung is sending the blood through the pulmonary vein to the left atrium. The left atrium sending the blood to the left ventricle. From the left ventricle through the aorta, it is sent out to the different body parts. Some arteries are connected to the heads and the arms, the upper part, and then some are sent to the liver, some are sent to the stomach intestine. Blood is sent to the kidneys, and to the lower parts of the body. Wherever it is sent, there carbon dioxide is also produced. Now you can see that the artery which has a connection to the liver, it is called as hepatic artery. The artery which is having the connection to the kidneys, it is called as renal artery and renal vein. And the carbon dioxide which was accumulated here by the after the respiration, all the carbon dioxide rich blood is transported through the different veins and having the connection to the vena cava finally. And you can see that from the head also it is coming to the vena cava, okay, and from the liver, stomach, kidney, lower parts, everything, all places are sending the impure blood to the right atrium. The right atrium is sending to the right ventricle. From the right ventricle through the pulmonary artery, it is sent to the lungs for the purification. So this way the cycle goes on. Now, working of the heart, as I have already told you, little more details of it. You can see that now the pulmonary vein arrow you just see. The pulmonary vein is sending the pure blood to the left atrium. Here both are in the relaxed condition. Okay, both are in the relaxed condition. Now what happens? When the left atrium contracts, the blood is pushed through this valve, mitral valve, or it is also called as bicuspid valve. Okay, the left atrium when gets the blood, when it contracts, it is pushing the blood through the aortic valve and going to the aorta. Aorta sends to the different body parts with the help of sub arteries. But from the cells, the deoxygenated blood has to come to the heart for the pumping back to the lungs. So all the veins are connected to the vena cava. Vena cava is bringing the blood to the right atrium. Now when the right atrium contracts, because right now when it is filling up, it will not be in the contracted condition. Right atrium will contract, then the tricuspid valve will open and the blood will fill into the right ventricle. When the right ventricle will contract, this pulmonary valve will open and the deoxygenated blood will be pushed to the pulmonary artery and sending to the lungs. Now you can see this flow chart also. This is the lungs. This is the lungs. The lungs is purified the blood and the oxygen is transported to the pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein sends to the left atrium. Left atrium is in the relaxed condition now. When it contracts, the bicuspid valve open. Where is the bicuspid valve? Between the left atrium and the ventricle. This opens, blood pushed to the left ventricle. When this contracts, there is a valve between the left ventricle and the aorta. Left ventricle and aorta has a valve that is called as aortic valve. When this opens, the blood is filled into aorta, that is the main artery, and systemic artery. Systemic arteries means that is sending the blood to the different body cells. Now the oxygen reaches to the cell. When the oxygen reaches to the cell, the carbon dioxide has to be expelled out. It is expelled out through the coronary sinus, inferior vena cava, superior vena cava, all has a connection to the right atrium. Right atrium and the right ventricle has tricuspid valve between them. When this contracts, this opens and then the blood transported to the right ventricle. When the right ventricle contracts, there is a valve, pulmonary valve. This opens and it allows the blood to flow to the pulmonary artery, and the pulmonary artery brings the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. The lungs sends out the carbon dioxide from the body and the oxygen is absorbed, and again this cycle keeps on going. Okay, I hope you have understood the working. Now children, just to give you in the detailed writing part, and in the board exam, if it is asked to you to show the circulation of the blood by the flow chart, this is a very simplest way I teach every year to show in the flow chart manner. Now just I am reading this. When the left atrium relaxes, the oxygenated blood from the lungs flows into it through the pulmonary vein. First point. When the left atrium contracts, the left ventricle expands and the blood flows into it. Then the left ventricle contracts, the oxygenated blood is pumped out through the aorta to the different parts of the body. After circulating through all the parts of the body, the deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium through the vena cava, this word. When the right atrium contracts, the left ventricle expands and the blood flows through it. Then the right ventricle contracts and the blood is pumped to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. In the lungs, carbon dioxide is removed and the oxygen is absorbed. Now you can see this. Lungs bringing the blood to the left atrium through pulmonary vein. Left atrium contracts, the blood goes to the left ventricle. Then when left ventricle contracts, there is one more valve that opens and it sends to the body cell. The body cell sends the deoxygenated blood to the right atrium when it is in the relaxed condition. And when it contracts, there is a valve here, tricuspid valve, that opens and it goes to the right ventricle. When it contracts, this one, through the pulmonary valve, it opens and it goes to the lungs with the help of pulmonary artery. Since you can see that the blood is flowing in the heart twice. One is this way, one is this way. So that is why it is called as double circulation. I will show you with the example, the diagram, how the double circulation. Now, double circulation. You can see the double circulation. One circulation is called as pulmonary circulation. One is called as systemic circulation. When the lungs is involved, this is called as pulmonary circulation. When one cycle takes place, through the when the blood is purified and the lungs is absorbed oxygen, the purified blood is going to the heart, the left side of the heart, and the left side of the heart is sending to the body cell. This is one circulation. Okay, so now this is called as pulmonary. When the impure blood or the carbon dioxide rich blood is coming to the heart, this completes one circle. That means when it is reaching to the heart, then again back when it is reaching to the heart, it is called as one circulation. When it is leaving the heart and again it is coming back to the heart, this is another circulation. Okay, when the blood is sent from the heart to the cell and from the cell it is again coming back to the heart, this is one circulation. This is called as systemic. When the impure blood is going to the lungs and from the lungs is again coming back to the heart, this is called as another circulation. This is called as pulmonary circulation. I hope this is clear to you all. The heart, draw the previous flow chart, write down the detailed steps of the circulation, why it is called as double circulation and what are those double circulations. You also copy that. Now, to show you in a more detail, in this also you can have a look. Now, the superior vena cava is bringing the blood from the head, neck and the arm. You can see that to the right atrium, and the inferior is bringing from the lower parts of the body to the right atrium. Okay. Now, what happens? This is contracting and sending to the right ventricle. When this is the lower right ventricle is contracting, it is sending to the pulmonary artery to the lungs. From the lungs, it is purified and coming back to the left atrium. When the left atrium contracts, it goes to the left ventricle. When the left ventricle contracts, it pushes to the aorta, and aorta is sending to the different body cells. I hope this is clear. Once you can have a look. This is just for you to understand better. Now, we have discussed the human heart. Along with the human heart, we should know that mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles and fishes also have heart, but how are they different from the humans? The mammals and the birds have four-chambered heart. The right and the left side of the heart is separated by a septum. This prevents the mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood and provides efficient supply of oxygen because they need more energy to maintain their body temperature. Already discussed. Amphibians and reptiles, they have three-chambered heart, but crocodile has four-chambered heart because they do not use this energy to maintain their body temperature. Their body temperature is same as the surrounding. They are cold-blooded. Fishes also have two-chambered heart. We have also discussed in the time of respiration. This is fish. What happens? From the water, the fish takes the oxygen, gills absorbs, and the gills send the oxygenated blood to the heart. This is the heart, and the heart pumps to the different bodies, and the carbon dioxide is exhaled out from the gills only. So or the blood is circulated in the body only once. But in the case of amphibians, two there are two atrium and one ventricle. You can see that there are two atrium and one ventricle. Okay, and in the humans there are four chambers. You can see that this is uh, from the lungs is sending the oxygenated blood. It is transported to the body parts, and through this it is coming back to the heart, and then it is again like oxygenated here, and then it is sending back through here. Here there is a mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in the amphibians. Okay, so till here I finish off my class. Till then, have a nice day, children.